peoples, it's your boy Arjun Smitty, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I got something I don't usually do, but I'm gonna be doing it. I have my first video game review of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. This may be something I might not do often, but because Marvel's Spider-Man 2 it was something very big that was coming out, and I probably will do the same thing for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, since those are really big and famous companies, Insomniac and Rocksteady. So I will be doing a couple of video game reviews on at least the games I actually finish and complete fully. And I actually played this game played through it 2 times now, so I'm able to actually give a full in-depth review about how I feel. And with all the controversy, I'm going to talk about that as well. So, hope you guys enjoy. So first, this is the non-spoiler section. I will have a spoiler section where I go into depth because most of the stuff that I really want to talk about is spoilers. So I can't really go fully into that, but I'm going to try to do my best as possible not to spoil or say anything. But the obvious is the obvious. You know Venom is in the game. You know Kraven is in the game. You know Mysterio and a bunch of other villains like Mr. Negative are in the game. You know they're in the game. You know Peter gets the black suit. Simple. Basic stuff. You already know that. So first, let me just say, is the game, because IGN gave this game an 8 out of 10. IGN gave this game an 8 out of 10. And I have been struggling with my rating. I have been struggling of what I'm going to rate this game. Because after playing it through the first time, I gave it a high score. I thought this game was the best. I thought it was really, really good. I think it's better than the first game, yada, yada, yada. I played it through a second time to actually really got to, because this was kind of after the hype. This was after the hype. So I kind of played it through it again to kind of get a more critique and dive a little bit deeper. Now, after that, I saw some things. Now, this may not make some people happy, but I have a couple of issues with the game. A couple. It ain't going to be no big or major issues where it's going to drop my rating or I'm going to go all ballistic or I'm going to be like Amazing Lucas and just say these little mini issues make the entire game terrible and that the game should be made the way I want it to be made. And it's going to be trash. It's trash because it's not the way I like it. I'm not like Amazing Lucas and all those other people. I'm not doing that, okay? Whatever I rate it, that's how I think that's the accurate rating. I think it should be no higher, no lower. I think that's what it should be. My little problems have a lot to do with the story. They mostly have to do with the story. I just felt like maybe there is some parts in the story where I feel like it could have been better. There are some parts of the story where I feel like I see the story and or the game where I felt like this is why I see it's being considered an 8 out of 10. It's multiple moments like that where I see, okay, maybe, just maybe, it makes sense. Is the game better? Is the story better than the first one? Me personally, I think just story-wise, and I think this is what IGN probably meant, I think story-wise, I think the first game is better. I think this game's story is better than Miles Morales, but it doesn't beat the first story's game. I think when it comes to the villains of Mr. Negative and Doc Ock, if you haven't played that game, this is not a spoiler. You should already know Doc Ock is one of the main villains in the game, of the first game. Whatever. I generally feel like the development with them was done way better, and the way the story was handled and was once again developed throughout was just handled better. I think it was just handled way better. Way better. And I felt like that story felt more, maybe I'm a sucker of this too, it felt more grounded. It felt more like a Spider-Man story. This story Don't get me wrong. It feels like a Spider-Man story. There are moments, yes, but then there's moments where it don't really feel like a Spider-Man story, and then there's moments where it just doesn't. It don't feel too compelling. It feels like there are a couple moments where you're literally just playing because you gotta beat some enemies up. You just gotta fight something. You gotta, you know. But there are. I'm gonna just talk about like Craven in the story was perfectly fine. He was good. I have no issues with him. I have no like issues with Craven. I do have a problem with how Craven is somewhat handled. Okay, maybe I do have some issues. Craven isn't really in the game. He isn't really in the game as much as I would have liked him to. At least not how Mr. Negative is. There's a moment Craven could be summed up in, I'm gonna say maybe one. He only has most of the fights in the game it's only one boss fight. It's a one boss fight for Craven, which kind of didn't work for me because in the first game you had two boss fights with Mr. Negative, and I kind of liked that. In this game, you only have one major boss fight, and that one major boss fight just has rounds, which are fun. But I felt like Craven should have been there more. You mostly just fight his henchmen. You don't really fight or see Craven as much as you should. But when you do see him, it's sad because his dialogue and his demeanor and how he acts and how he talks, like, it's cool. Like, he's really cool. And it sucks that you don't see him as much as you should. And I don't like that you don't really see like Spider-Man have any interactions with him until you get the black suit. I wish there was a little bit more interactions with him. Like just a little bit more. Maybe like one boss fight where we fight him regularly and then another boss fight where we fight him in the black suit. Something like that. There is a boss fight where you fight him, but that's not till like later in the black suit. I kind of wish you fought him like maybe once or twice without the suit. Maybe. That's just me personally. And the same thing can be said with Miles. I kind of wish with him and Martin Lee, he fought Martin Lee another time, and then you get to that final part, which I'm not going to say this final part where you fight him and then you get the emotional impact. Even though all the emotional impact still works there. Don't get me wrong. It still works there. I just wish it was a little bit more, the build up that we had to certain things in the first game just worked better. They don't work as well as they do in the first game. Like, they don't work as well here. And I also felt like with this game, like, Miles doesn't really have anything to do. Not really. Not really. He doesn't really have anything to do. This game, and I get it. This game, of course, this game is supposed to be a sequel to the first game, which the first game was clearly Peter's game. So why wouldn't this game have more Peter? But the game is advertised as be greater together. So I would think, it will be somewhat of a balance between Peter and Miles. But it's really not. Miles isn't really given anything to do. Not really. He's not really given a lot of stuff to do. He's really just there. He's really just there for most of the time. He's not outside of the whole stuff with Martin Lee, and then towards the end he does something cool, and then he'll help Peter from time to time. Like, he doesn't really have anything really important to do. Most of the stuff is with Peter in the symbiote. That's what you're there for. That's the coolness. I get it. Because outside of that, once you start doing Peter stuff and you do Miles stuff, most of the Miles stuff is just like side missions. Like, you're trying to get instruments or band equipment, and then another thing is Miles is trying to write his essay. Stuff like that. Not to say that wasn't important and it didn't really play that of a major factor, but it was kind of It wasn't nothing that really broke any grounds for me. It just was kind of there. I just wish Miles was given more to do. And as when it comes to like, as I slowly transition into this gameplay, you don't really, whenever you play as Peter and you do like side missions or quests, you don't really see Miles pop up. And vice same thing for Miles with Peter. They don't really pop up or do a lot of teammates. A lot of their stuff is separate. They don't really start working together until like the end of the game. And like a one little moment, it's like they got beats. They work together in the beginning for a little bit. Then they work together in the middle for like 1 or 2 moments. Then, because Pete stops the lizard by himself. Pete stops the lizard by himself. He doesn't get the help of Miles, of course. Because by this moment in time, the symbiote is starting to take control and he's starting to go crazy. So, Pete doesn't even, Miles doesn't even help him with that. Then later in the game, once things start really getting crazy with Venom, then that's when Miles starts coming around. But he's not really, but through in between those, between the beginning and end, Miles doesn't really do that much with Peter. He's rare. They're both really off doing their own thing, regardless if Peter has the black suit or not. Miles and Peter don't really do that much together, especially like I was saying with the side missions, and when you do like an alert. Miles is not real. Miles or Peter don't really help each other out. It's like, let me say, like if you did like 5 alert missions, or like 5 side missions, if you're playing as Miles or if you're playing as Peter, the other Spider-Man will probably only show up maybe once out of those 5 missions. Like they don't really show them really working together. And even when they do, they don't really have, this is where I would say the animation should have went more extreme. I felt like the animations for them doing dual takedowns, they could have done a lot more with that. Just a little bit, could have added a little bit more. Just added a little bit more. Because it's kind of lacking. Because I noticed a lot of people were trying to say that Miles and Peter play the same. They don't do that much. And I was like, no, they don't. They don't play the same. They don't play the same at all. They don't play the same at all. Okay. To some capacity, they're going to play the same. They're both Spider-Man. Why wouldn't they have some similar animations? Like, come on. But overall, when it comes to like abilities, Miles got his blue lightning and his yellow lightning. Peter got the Venom suit, and then he got his iron arms. And then there's some animations when you're swinging around, and then you got some other animations in certain fighting techniques where they do something different. But, of course, at their core, they're both Spider-Man, so they're going to have something that makes them similar. But overall, they play pretty different. My only issue with that was, like I stated, was when they do like team takedowns, they kind of have the same animation. It wasn't a variety of animations, but I didn't really have too. It didn't really break me that much. It didn't really break me that, especially since they don't meet up that much anyway. So the couple of animations, the 2 or 3 animations that they do have when they do team takedowns, you don't even see them that much. So it was kind of like whatever. As for Venom, I'm not going to talk about Venom until I get to spoilers. I'm not going to say anything about Venom, like at all, until I get to spoilers, because most of the stuff about Venom is a spoiler. So I'm not going to say really anything about Venom until I get to the spoiler section. As for Mary Jane, if you're thinking Mary Jane is not going to have her stealth sequences, well, Insomniac says, fuck you, we're bringing those back. We're just going to try and make them better. And for me, I thought I actually enjoyed them. I felt, when I played as Mary Jane, I actually felt, for me at least, I know people still have some problems with these scenes and with these gameplays, and I was like, they're actually better than me. I actually like them. It felt like I was playing a Tomb Raider game, but as Mary Jane. Like, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like I was playing a Tomb Raider game as Mary Jane. Mary Jane, of course, once, just like in the first game, by the time you get to her last stealth mission, of course she gets all of the cool stuff. But, yeah, she gets a gun. She gets a gun, and she gets some cool like fighting mechanics. Like MJ actually beats some guards up, which at times doesn't seem believable that she can beat highly trained hunters by Kraven. Like these are supposed to be highly trained hunters that Kraven has trained, but MJ is easily able to take them out. I ain't gonna question it. It's a video game. It's a superhero, whatever, superhero story, whatever. But yeah, I thought they wasn't bad. I liked them way more than in the first game, because in the first game they were boring and they were pretty tedious, especially once you got caught. In this game, when you get caught, especially if you play like on Amazing. My first time playing through, I played on Spectacular. My second time through, I played on Amazing. If you play like on Spectacular, if you get hit like once, MJ will take it. Like if you get hit by like an enemy, she will take the damage. She will take the damage, depending on how hard they hit you or what they hit you with. She will take the damage. But after that second hit, you will probably die. In Amazing, you'll die after 2 hits, but like in Spectacular, you'll die after 1 hit. So really, they kind of made MJ pretty cool when it comes to her scenes. I didn't have any problems with her. Not at all. Like, I thought she was better in this game. I would actually, there's actually maybe, no, 2. 1 or 2 missions where I would go back and play as MJ. I would go back and play as MJ because I thought one or 2 of them was really cool. Like, really, really cool. As for, like, more like as in the side missions and stuff like that, because most of the stuff I can't really talk until I get into spoilers, because like the game, that's where really the game really matters. I'm gonna talk about the gameplay. With the gameplay, once again, I think this is where the game is like way better and extreme, like, and just the gameplay is way better, the web sling is way better. People are complaining about the web wings, saying, "Oh, what happened to just basic web slinging? We can't do that no more." And I'm just like, okay, y'all have a problem with it. It's the same thing I'm gonna say for Gotham Knights. If you have a problem with Red Hood's ability when Red Hood has the Mystic Jump, just don't use it. That's the same thing I'm gonna say for the web wings. There are moments where it is scripted where you have to use the web wings, and there are side missions where you have to use the web wings. But if you're just traversing and swinging around and going to your next like objective, just don't use the web wings. I mean, they don't bother me. I have no issue with the web wings. And like they don't really hold you back. Maybe because at times it feels like Peter is flying through the sky, and if you wear like the Iron Spider skin, it doesn't really bother me because it feels like I'm actually flying with the Iron Spider suit. So it's kind of whatever for me. I don't have an issue. If you don't like the web wings, just don't use them. Just don't use them. Just don't use them. Just swing around normally. Some people also complaining about how the web slinging is. Well, guess what? They've added something where you can either have your web swinging assist all the way up, so you can just swing how you did in the first game, and you just have full control, or where you can put it all the way down and you get that Spider-Man 2 field where you can pretty much are in control, and whatever you do with the controller, the game will do. And for me, I kind of had it in the middle a little bit. My first time playing through, I had the web slinging assist on 3. My second time through, I put it on 1. So it's kind of, I like it. I pretty much would say turn it off if you really want to like get into the physics-based web slinging that people have been craving for. But if that's not you and you're like just that bad at web slinging, which I don't see how you could be, but if you're just that bad, or just, whatever, you want some extra assistance, just turn it up to 10 or put it on 5 halfway, and you'll have some more control of it. Simple. Other problem that people are saying is, which I agree with this one, is the gadgets. I miss the gadgets of the first game. I really do. I personally felt like maybe Miles should have only 4 gadgets, and he has his, of course, his powers. And Pete should have a gadget wheel. Pete doesn't have any of those cool electric powers that Miles does. So I think Pete should have still had his trip mine, because I missed all of those. I missed the trip mine one. I missed the web balls. I missed the impact webbing. I missed all of those gadgets. Those gadgets helped me out. A lot of people didn't like those gadgets. And I just say fuck off, because those gadgets were cool and you could do some cool stuff in combat with them. So the fact that they removed them, I was kind of upset. Really, the only gadget that I really like is the gadget that allows you to pull multiple enemies together. That's really the only gadget I think is like I really, really like. But most of the other ones are just okay. They're okay. Okay. Another problem that I felt like people were also mad about was that people are complaining that Peter has the iron arms, and that Peter, we get mad at Tom Holland Spider-Man because he has all this tech savvy stuff and he's creating all this stuff, but we don't get mad at insomniacs. But I'm just like, if Peter creates his own stuff in the game. With Tom Holland's thing, he doesn't even, Tony Stark made that tech, and he uses Tony Stark's tech to create it. So I don't know why those comparisons even happen, but I just thought I would address it because people just say some weird and crazy stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all I really can't, for what I can't really spoil, because I can't really say anything else without spoiling stuff. But I'm really trying to see what I can rate this game, because it's just some things I like about it, and it's just some things that it's just like, ugh. Is the game better overall? Actually, oh wait, I forgot the side missions. Yeah, that's another thing, man. It's like with the side missions are lacking too. I feel like it was just way, once you beat the first game, it was way more to do after you beat it. It was just way more stuff to do. You had way more side missions. You had way more mini stuff to do around the city. It was just, you had five factions, different things. Like you had Kingpins, construction sites. You had Martin Lee's warehouses. You had Rock Sable's the Sable stuff. What else? It was just a whole bunch of stuff. It was just way more. You had Black Cat stuff. You just had a lot more side missions to do. In this game, you don't really have that many side missions. Really, the only cool side mission is the side mission where you, at least to me, is when you do Yuri stuff. I think Yuri's side mission is probably the coolest one out of them all. And there are certain parts of Yuri's side mission that I like better than the main story. I just think some stuff just works better. It just works way better. But yeah, I would prefer the side missions in the first game, and basically how they did the side missions in the first game, and the whole first story of the first game. Really, it's kind of in the middle for me. It's between, for me, it's between like a 9 and an 8 out of 10. It's between an 8 and a 9. Part of me wants to go full, give it a 9 out of 10. I once again, I will never rate anything a 10 out of 10, because I think everything can have improvement. And if you can nitpick something, if you can fully just talk about something, then it will never be a 10 out of 10. Nothing can be a 10 out of 10 for me. That's just how I look at stuff. That's just me personally. It's between a 9 and an 8. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go with an 8 out of 10. If I was to rank the games, I would say the first game is a 9. I would say the second game is a 7 out of 10, because Miles was way shorter, and there is stuff about the story that is a little I would give, and then this game I would give an 8. For gameplay, graphics, frame rates, and everything else, I would say it's better than the first and second game. It's better than the first, and it's better than Miles. And for certain parts of the story, I would say it's better than the original. But there's still stuff about the original, the first game, and the side missions that I just feel like are just way better in that are just lacking in the second game. And another thing, this doesn't bring the score down, but this is a major problem with me. The fact that after you beat the game, they don't have a day and night cycle, which was in both of the first, and which was in the first game and in Miles Morales at launch. They don't have the day and night cycle. So basically, after you beat the game, you're just swinging around during the daytime. I really hope that they're going to do an update and add that. I really hope they do that, because that is really going to suck if we got to keep swinging around during just the daytime, and I can't swing around with the black suit at nighttime or when it's raining. And I have to go to a predetermined point in the story just to do that. That's going to really suck. And another thing is the replayable missions. It wasn't the first game, but they added it in launch at the second game. So, I mean, in Miles Morales, my bad. So I'm kind of like, where is all of these two? Where are these two? Like, where are these two features at? These should be things that are already in the game, personally, because like they were in the other games. So, well, they was at least in Miles Morales. So I was expecting like, okay, these should be stuff that's already in the game, like at launch. But apparently, which I was been told, they're adding replayable missions and they're adding New Game Plus. I gave them a pass on New Game Plus because that wasn't at launch in the first game. So I give them a pass. But we should be getting better, and those stuff should technically already be in the game once we get it. But whatever. They're adding those. I don't know if they're going to add a day and night cycle. I really hope they do that. I would rather a day and night cycle than replayable missions, because at least I can change the time of day. And then if I really wanted to go back and replay a mission, I'll just replay the whole story. I don't have a problem with that. But since you gave us both of those features in Miles Morales, they should be in this game. So please add all three of those. Yes. Yes. Please add all three of those. Because that, and it's another problem that I have, but I can't talk about it because that would be spoiling. So I'm going to just go ahead and give this final rating because I'm ready to go into spoilers and go even a little deeper, especially talking about Venom. So my final rating is an 8. I'm going to do an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to do the 0.5. I'm going to do an 8.5 out of 10. I think this game has a lot of stuff that makes it good. I think it has a lot of stuff that makes it better than better than the other two. But I feel like that first game just had something that just made you. It just made it feel more like a complete. It just felt more like a Spider-Man story. It felt more grounded. It felt more. I don't know. It just had a nice. Everything developed and was flowing better in the first game, and I just like the first story a lot more. A lot more. Not to say this story is bad, because this story is really good, and Yuri still acts his ass off. So don't knock that. Same thing with my man Candyman, Tony Todd. He acts his ass off. They voice act their ass off. Everyone voice acts their ass off. The story is still pretty good. I just personally would still take the first story over this story. That's just me. So 8.5 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 as you want. If you have not beat the game, or if you do not want to be spoiled, please leave now, and I will catch you in the next one. But if you are staying, we're about to go into the spoiler section. Peace. All right. I'm letting you know. You're still here. This is your final warning. I'm about to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled or have not finished the game, you don't got 100% it, but if you have not finished at least the story, leave now. Get out of here. Leave now. Don't stay here. Go. We're about to get into it now. Okay. First things first. Where the hell are the Avengers? Where the hell are the Avengers? I can't be the only one that is asking this question. Where the hell are the Avengers? Where is Doctor Strange? This doesn't take away from the score. This doesn't take away from the score, but where the hell are the Avengers? Where is Doctor Strange? Where is Daredevil? Where is Black Panther? Like, where? These are all characters that we know are here. Like, they're in the game. The Wakanda Embassy is here. The Sanctum is here. What else is here? The Avengers Tower is one of the biggest buildings in the game. Like, where are these characters? By the end of the game, I like the beginning of the third act. We find out Harry, which everyone knew. This is not really a big spoiler. Harry is Venom. Me personally, I already knew that. I told me and a couple of my friends, like, hey, if Harry is not Venom, then either Norman is Venom or Insomniac created a new character that we don't know about and he's going to become Venom. Because if Harry isn't Venom, I don't know who else could be Venom. I was right, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of other people was right. Harry was Venom. Now, let me just say, I wish the game was a little longer because we needed way more screen time with Venom and Kraven. Venom, the Venom gameplay stuff was fucking awesome. Can we please get a DLC with Venom? Excuse me. I don't even care. I don't even need the free roam with Venom. Just give me a DLC or some type of challenge map where I just go around and play as Venom. I would be totally fine with that. That's all I need. Venom was awesome. I needed more of that. I needed way more of that. That was awesome. But, like I was saying before, I got sidetracked. Where the hell are the Avengers? This game mimics Web of Shadows like crazy. By the end of the game, Venom has even though the symbiote, technically speaking, in comic book logic, this would not happen. The symbiote spreads and grows bigger. It grows bigger and affects the entire city, just like in Web of Shadows. And I'm just like, this was kind of a missed opportunity to have the Avengers because they should have appeared. Because this is a big, Venom, I'm not just saying Venom takes over half of the city or he just takes over Manhattan or Queens. This nigga takes over the entire city. The entire city. The entire main city where Avengers Tower is, Daredevil. And matter of fact, the Fantastic Four are in this game. Because I saw the build, that building is in the game. So I'm just like, why didn't we pull a full Web of Shadows? And have these characters show at least at least 2 or 3 of these characters show up to help Peter and Miles. Because I'm thinking either the Avengers are dead or they just don't give a shit. Same thing with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange freaking left his sanctum and allowed for a Black Cat to steal this device that allows her to teleport. And this man just didn't foresee that or that there would be a symbiote apocalypse. I'm just baffled. This is a nitpick. I'm sorry, but I'm just like, dude, where the hell was these characters? These characters should have showed up. We should have got a whole Web of Shadows type, and they should have helped out to some capacity. We didn't need to play as these characters, but I was at least thinking maybe the Hulk or freaking Daredevil or Doctor Strange helped to some capacity to help take them out, because Lord have mercy. But I digress. It's whatever. I'm going to just say Symbiote Peter is a menace. He's not Bully Maguire. But he's a menace. He's a menace. He goes crazy. In part of the game, you turn into Anti-Venom, which I thought was really cool. But my only problem, once you beat the game, the Anti-Venom, the tendrils, the symbiote tendrils, turn white. So basically you're shooting sperm everywhere, which I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but you're shooting sperm everywhere, white sperm everywhere. But you can't change the color back to black. So when I'm swinging around, it's bad enough it's already got to stay daytime. But now you're telling me that the tendrils have to stay the color white because I became Anti-Venom. So Peter is now Anti-Venom, and I think he's going to be like this in the third game, because I don't think they're going to change this, because once he got rid of the symbiote still has a piece of him. He still had pieces of the symbiote left in him. So then Mr. Negative and Miles go inside his psyche, his brain, and fix it. Him and Miles make amends. Miles forgives him, but he doesn't forgive him at the same time. But they make him become Anti-Venom, and you get 2 new cool abilities added to your arsenal. which literally involves you throwing sperm. You throwing it's hilarious, but I love it. I love it. Pause. Like, but once you get it and once you beat the game, you can't change anything. Like you're stuck with the color white. Like you can't make it black. So you're going to be swinging around with the symbiote and it's just going to stay that color. It's just going to stay that color. It's just not going to change. It's not going to change, which is very weird. But let me get on to Kraven. Back to Kraven. You fight Kraven with the symbiote, and Kraven eventually gets his head bitten off by Venom because you play as Venom, and then you do a boss fight with Kraven because Kraven is not beating Venom. Venom demolished. When you play as Venom, you demolish Kraven, and Kraven dies by getting his head bite off because Kraven wants that final hunt because he doesn't want to die I think he has cancer. He doesn't want to die from cancer. Yeah. So most of my problems with this game are nitpicks. But there is mostly nitpicks, and like all the Venom stuff is really the only spoilers because you could really, if you read a comic or you just watch the trailers, you can kind of, to some capacity, predict what's going to happen. Like it's pretty obvious. Harry is basically going through the same thing he did in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's just done way better here, and instead of the whole Goblin shit, they switched the Goblin stuff with the Venom stuff. And there's just no Eddie Brock. That's basically all they did. And it's just done way better here. Because Norman at the beginning, you see a flashback. Norman gives Harry the powers. And then Harry gets stuck in, of course, that dome that we saw in the first game. The fish tank in the first game. Then he eventually gets out. So that's how that basically plays out. So it's basically like the goblin disease or the curse that happened in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But once again, it's just done way better here. They literally clearly just take stories and just because they basically did they just took stories from they just took stories and just flip-flopped them and switched. Most of the spoilers are Venom. Like Venom is the main spoilers of the game. Like that's there's nothing really else that spoils because you can predict pretty much what is going to happen. By the end of the game, you literally just have Harry about to die, and then Miles gets a suit that not a lot of people like with his hair sticking out. I actually think it's cool. But I don't like his original. I don't like the suit, the original one he wears. When you actually go in and you unlock the other variations of it, I think those look better than the one you are actually wearing. That's just me personally. But Miles saves Harry at the end and brings him back to life with his electric powers, and it leads to, of course, Peter, because you could tell in certain parts of the game where Peter is trying to retire. By the end, Peter is like, I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to be Spider-Man anymore. I'm going to leave it up to Miles. And which he does. Which I don't have no problems with. I don't think Peter fully quits or is going to stop. He's going to be Spider-Man again. Whatever. I don't know if we're going to get a Miles Morales 2. But I think Peter's going to be... He's going to come back. He's not going to just give up. He's anti-Venom. He's not going to just give up. By the end, there's an end credit scene. Well, before we get to the end credit scene, there's a scene before Peter decides to retire, and you have the big moment. Are we ever going to end these games off of a swinging scene? I hope at least by the third game we end it off of a swinging scene. But Norman is pissed. He blames Spider-Man. He goes to, I don't know why. He clearly saw that Harry was, He goes to Dr. Otto Octavius. Now, I have one nitpick again. Dr. Otto Octavius should only know that Peter is Spider-Man. He shouldn't know that Miles Morales is Spider-Man unless Peter has been visiting him and then been telling him about his adventures, or somehow Doc Ock pieced together that Miles is Spider-Man. But yeah, Norman goes to Peter. not Peter. He goes to Doc Ock, and he basically just asks him who they are, and Norman says, "I'm not telling you. Fuck off. I'm glad something happened to your son. That's what you get. We all need to experience a tragic moment." And it's just, I think it's basically setting up the return of Doc Ock and basically setting up the Green Goblin, because Norman seems pretty pissed, and he also seems, once he asks for this formula that will, I guess, help Harry again, which I feel like is a Green Goblin formula, he's gonna become something, or Harry's gonna become something else, and he's gonna go crazy. I think I'm really predicting that Harry might come back as Venom. I don't know why, but he's gonna be better. I don't know. The other end credit scene is when we meet Rio Morales, Miles Morales' new date, because she's dating again. Whippy. She's dating she's dating a new character, Silk. Silk is going to be a character. If you don't know who Silk is, if you watch my gameplay, they say her actual name. I know who Silk is. No one kill me. I know who Silk is. It's just, I don't know her real name. I don't know too much on Silk. I just know that she is one of the spider characters. But she's a character that, you don't see her face, you just see her from behind. She's a character that's pop. You see her dead, though. She's going to be in the game. I don't think she has her powers, though, of course. But she's going to get bit, I guess, or something's going to happen, and she's going to become a spider character. Then we're going to have 3 spider characters, and we're still not going to have multiplayer. So, yeah, we're going to possibly get Silk. So that's pretty much it for that. Most of the stuff is based, most of the spoilers are Venom and end credit scenes. I thought all of these were fine. It sets up, the game sets up the next game perfectly, like usual. Can't wait. I don't think we're going to enter like an Arkham Knight type story, but I do feel like the story is not going to be as good as the second one, or be as good as the first one. I generally feel like if they don't make a Miles Morales 2, I generally feel like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man PS4 was Arkham Asylum. Miles Morales was like an Arkham Origins. It's going to be underrated. And then Spider-Man 2 is Arkham City. It's just Arkham City was, yeah. And then, like, I feel like Spider-Man 3 is going to be like Knight, but maybe a little bit better in story-wise. And I just don't think the story is going to be that much better. I don't know. That's just me. But I hope it is. I'm hoping for the best. I just, as of right now, I don't feel like it's going to be that much better. And as for like characters and whatnot, I think as they are progressing, and I'm pretty sure they're going to add a comic after this game, so maybe we'll see what happens from there. But next game on the roster is Wolverine. I'll probably review that. I might review that, but I don't think Wolverine's probably not going to come out till 2025, and then I don't think Marvel Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 3 isn't going to come out till like, I'd say either 2028 or 2029. That's my prediction. It's not going to come till like later, like way down the line. So, yeah. These are my thoughts. That's really all I have left to say. Once again, I don't think the game is terrible. I think the game is really good, but it's just certain moments in the game. I think the first game just does way better. And there's certain things about this game, the second game, that just is way better than the first game. But if I was to take a game, I would take the second game over Miles Morales. After playing this game, Miles Morales, you could honestly just skip Miles Morales. You wouldn't even need to, play that game. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. I will be having another video coming out real soon. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.